Hello all and welcome back to another messing with resin video. Today I am making some clear sensory shaker shapes, and I'd already poured the resin into the molds and you can see that I am just unmolding them all. I make these completely clear so the colourful pieces inside can be seen from all sides of the shape once it's finished. And as I said, they are sensory shaker shapes. They are also good for distraction and anyone with anxious hands. So I have quite a few shapes to unmold. I didn't film me pouring the resin in for the simple fact is I had to, once I mixed the resin, wait for a bit because I haven't got a pressure pot, so I have to wait for I mix slowly so I don't over bubble the resin as I pour it, or mix it, sorry, but there's a few micro bubbles and that circle one came out the worst, but I suppose all in all, they're handmade, so bubbles are hit and miss. But as I said, I waited a bit longer, not so the resin went overly thick, but still enough that I can pour it. And because these moulds are small and thin, I don't like going over them with my clicky lighter, so I just spritz the surface with isopropyl alcohol after I've carefully sort of I get hold of, no, I don't get hold of it, but with my fingers I sort of flick the side, so to speak, so the mould flips up and down to try and disperse any bubbles, and I do go around with a cocktail stick. So yeah, we'll just finish unmoulding these. As I said, there's quite a few shapes. I think I did 12 in all, and then when I was putting some resin over the top, which you'll see a bit later in the video, I ended up making another 2, so I've got 14 different shaker shapes in total, and they do take quite a while to make because obviously you've got this part first, and then you'll see coming up the rest of the procedure in how to make these dry shaker shapes. When I first made the shakers, when I first received these moulds, I did make them as a snow globe effect, and I added baby oil, but that was just so messy and I just didn't like it, so I much prefer the dry shaker shapes. So I've got the transparent film and I've drawn around each of the shapes, and I'm just showing you one and then cut it out so it fits on nicely but still leaves a gap around the edge. And the parts of the moulds that have got the little divot in the side where you, once you put the top and that on, you can put your little thin nozzle in and fill with the shaker liquid or baby oil, whatever you use. I did fill them in with some UV resin, and I have my UV resin there, and very carefully, that was really bugging me, that bit there. For the life of me, I could not pick it up. So yeah, so going back to what I was saying, I have my UV resin and a very thin brush, and I'm just going to carefully paint around the outside of the butterfly, trying to get in the middle of the rim. So I don't want to go too close to the inside because I don't want any of the bits inside to stick to any of the resin, but I also don't want to go too close to the outside because I'm covering these with epoxy resin, and epoxy resin and UV resin does not go together. They don't like each other. So by leaving a thin gap around the outside exposed of the original epoxy resin base, it will cover the UV resin fine and adhere to the epoxy resin, so nothing will pop off and nothing will leak, unless you decide to throw the item on the ground and try and smash it, then you will cause some damage. But so yeah, so I mean, really I should have sped this bit up, but I mean, this is real time because I'm trying to go carefully. I don't want to, you know, get a big blob that spreads out as I'm going round. So you can see why making these shaker shapes is quite a lengthy process, because I mean, it took a while to unmold them all, and then I've got to do this to each and every one of the other 13. And I cure each one for 3 minutes at a time. So yes, so this is quite a lengthy procedure, but the finished outcome, when they are finished, they are just so pretty. And I love how the bits inside, you can hear them sort of like, you can hear them move when you shake it, and you can see them from both sides. So now we come in and very carefully, now this is the hardest part because you're going clear on clear, just drop that on. I don't want to squish it down because that will just flatten any of the UV resin. And I can see at the top wing there I have a slight bit overhanging, so very gently I just slide that so it's in place, and then quickly seal it before I knock it again with my little UV torch. That is just literally just to seal it, to stop it from moving. And then I will put that under my light, which only goes for 60 seconds at a time, so I just press it 3 times and do it for 3 minutes. And if by magic, here's one I prepared earlier. So this one has just come out of the lamp, that is all covered. And yeah, so I've just got to do that to all of the others. And here they all are. Here are all the ones that I need to finish. I've cut all the shapes out and they're in the mould, so I know what shapes for what. So yeah, so I'm gonna be a while. So they're all done, and now I'm here with the next layer, and again I'm going to show you on the butterfly. I've got my clear resin there. I mix up a little bit at a time, and I very carefully go round the shape with the epoxy resin. And the way I like to do this first is to drop the main drop from the lolly stick into the center of the design, or the image, or the shape, and then use that and push it around the edge. Now I normally go around each one on the silicone mold that it's sitting in with liquid latex, but I was just too lazy. So it just means that I've got to be super careful so no resin runs down the sides, and I don't overload it with resin because I do 2 coats to each one. So this is the first layer of clear resin, and then I let that dry overnight, and then I will come back and I will do all of them again with a second layer of clear resin, and then they are finished. So this is like a 3 to 4 day process to make one of these. So we're getting very close to the end. And I just love how the pieces look actually in clear, rather than doing a coloured base and then just all you can do is see them from one side. So again, just going round, gently covering the whole of the surface with the clear epoxy resin. Now it's out of the mould, I do actually go over these with the clicky lighter to make sure that it is completely crystal clear and bubble free. Just a tiny bit more, and there, that is all done. So then get my clicky lighter, excuse the hand, whiz it over a few times, and that is that one finished. apart from I couldn't work out if that was a little spot there, and it was, so I just covered it with a little dot, and that's it. Now to do the others. Okay, they've all had their second layer of clear resin. I've just finished, so that's why they're all in their moulds, just waiting for them to dry. And then here we are. This is a finished one. You can see how the pieces can be seen from both sides. And all they need now is to be smoothed around the edges, and that is what I've done. So you can see them here. They're all finished and ready to be uploaded to my website. I'm absolutely pleased with how they come out, even though it took me about 3 or 4 days to complete the lot. They are absolutely stunning, and as I said, I'm off to upload them to my website. And yeah, if you stayed this far, thank you so much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay safe. Bye.